This is the last time we're redoing this.
Oh.
Hello, this is Jared Hickman and Coffee Bar Monologue. This is the second episode.
Anyway.
That was not me. My best friend Carlos is here.
Excuse me.
I said this was our last take, so this is our last take. We're not redoing it.
This is our third take.
This is only the third one, but
It better be the last one.
we're I guess that's staying in there. Remember, it was the day. Was it the day of my wedding or the day before my wedding? We went to Burger King together, and right as the lady asked me what I wanted, you like burped so loud, and she like paused and everything, and she was, and then it was super
I don't
awkward.
remember that.
Was that the day of my wedding?
No, day before.
That was the day before.
There was no way it was the day of because.
Well, no, I think it was because you were trying to get me to eat because I hadn't eaten anything, and I got a Whopper and ate like 2 bites of it, and then you were like, "You gonna finish that?" And then just like hounded the rest of it.
I thought it was the day before.
I know you spent the night that, obviously the day before, but I don't know. I thought it was the day of. But anyways, So I'm here with my friend Carlos, obviously, and we have known each other since 2016 at Pine Ridge Bible Camp. Is when we met. You were a cabin leader, and
You were a punk.
I still am, man. Yeah, no, that was my first year as a worship leader out at Pine Ridge Bible Camp, and I met Carlos, and we played a game of skate with your Enjoy board on the basketball court.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, that was the only way I was able to connect with you because in every other aspect, we were complete opposites. And I absolutely hated you. No, I was kidding. I didn't hate you, but I was not like, who are you walking up in here halfway through our summer?
It was 2 weeks in.
It was halfway in.
It was only 2 weeks in because I missed staff training in the first Freddy's Friends, but I joined that second week of actual camp. So
it felt like forever.
I'm sure it did.
So we didn't get off on the right foot.
Can you speak?
So
yeah.
But we made it through.
Yeah, no, and it doesn't. I think you're making it sound worse than what it was too. We like didn't not get along or anything like that. We actually got along just fine. I mean, we worked together and we were in ministry together. So
well, we didn't like see each other that much.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, the same thing goes for Sarah too. My wife now. We met in 2016 and we didn't talk like at all or anything. You know, we just kind of knew who each other were. But yeah, no, we. don't hold my hand ever again. But we met in 2016 at camp, and we kind of hit off with a skateboarding relationship was really all it was. Skateboarding and a work relationship was about it. But no, I thought you were pretty cool. You had this chin strap beard.
Gosh, that was the worst.
Most ugly thing I've ever
couldn't
seen.
grow a beard yet.
No, you still can't.
I just had a chin strap. You want to talk? You still got peach fuzz.
That's just my chest. But yeah, no, dude. But how have you been lately? I feel like we haven't like caught up as much as we should have.
Yeah, I've been working. That's it, really. That's what it feels like the past couple weeks. But
yeah.
Honestly, I've been blessed with an amazing woman in my life, and shout out to Emma Brainerd.
Yeah.
And the Brainerd family. They have
my dog's in the background playing with toys, and you can hear a little squeaking. The cat's just walking around her feet too.
Anyways, more recently, I've been tired,
Yeah.
cranky. And that's it. No, I've been doing all right. I just been.
Yeah, you've been busy. We've been trying to get together for a long time, and we never.
We
either see each other for 25 minutes or,
Honestly, it becomes a choice whether or not when I get out of work I want to go see people or not.
Right.
You know.
I'm glad to know that I've been neglected this whole time when you could have come hang out with me.
I guess I got to switch my job.
Yeah. I'm going to be switching my job. I'm applying on Monday for Shape over in Muskegon. It's where Luke works.
Oh,
so
yeah, right.
I'm going to try and get a job, not next week, but the week after that. He said he can guarantee me a job there. So,
are you going to stick at camp for a little while longer?
I guess that's kind of on the down low right now for how things are going to go, especially if, I've got to have conversations with people at camp and figure stuff out. I'm actually still over at Pine Ridge Bible Camp. I don't know if I mentioned that in the last podcast, but I'm currently out at Pine Ridge Bible Camp, and there's still 2 more weeks, and then a half week or whatever. But we'll figure out what's happening there.
I feel like the summer's gone.
Yeah,
it's
the
about
summer
to be over.
It literally went by super fast. Sarah, you don't have to be super quiet. My wife's cleaning the house.
She's
and
tiptoeing.
She's tiptoeing and opening doors really slowly.
Hi, Sarah.
Just yell hi. Yell hello. Just yell it.
I don't want to yell.
Okay. But anyways, I'm out at Pine Ridge, and I'm doing kind of IT work with the chapels and stuff, and then also I'm the battle games director, so I get to do airsoft and laser tag all day long, which is fun. But I kind of need a better job, a better paying job, nearing the end of camp, and
you should come work with me. It's closer.
But your work sucks.
It doesn't. My work itself.
Tell us about your work. Your work literally sounds like a ministry when you say the name John Grace.
Yeah, I work for John Grace.
What kind of Bibles do you sell?
It's a vocational school. No. I do restoration for lack of a better word, I do mitigation.
What?
Which is I do a lot of water damage restoration, fire or mold, which is very fascinating.
It's the asbestos.
Asbestos.
The asbestos job in the world.
Yes, it is. It's very fun to kind of get on these jobs and then investigate to see what happened and the science behind all the things that we do when it comes to remediating water or remediating mold or even containing, after a fire settles, you get soot everywhere, and there's just all these types of chemicals that we use. It's really interesting, and it's probably going to sound very boring when I try to explain it.
It already does. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, I enjoy the work, but I think I just have my days where I just rather do something I'm passionate about, and I think that's what it comes down to. I like helping people, which is what I'm doing, but there's a different passion that I am searching for.
That's one thing I noticed about your job too is you are helping people, and you have your personality is definitely big on you're very compassionate, you're very outgoing, and you'll step out of the way to try and help someone, or to kind of, I don't know, just seek how you can be a part of someone's life. And so I've always been kind of surprised you've been in construction work, but it's interesting how you explain it that way.
I can't get out of the construction life.
He couldn't get a ministry job, so he got a construction job with a ministry name.
Yes.
But how's free time right now? I know just cutting deep into it, you don't have a whole lot of free time, but by the sounds of it, and maybe you do. You've just been ignoring my calls, so I think you don't have a lot of free time. But
yes.
What do you do? What is personal life right now for you?
Personal life, either I will get home, take a shower, and that's my day. That's when I get home, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you told me, you're I'll be over at your place at 6 o'clock, and it was 8:30 when you got here. So
I got out of work at 7:30.
It was 7:30.
No, 7:50. I got out of work. So
that's insane. Yeah,
almost a 12-hour day.
I feel like we need to go back in time though. Like, we met each other at camp in 2016, and then 2017 I came back to camp. Me and Sarah were dating at that time.
Yep.
And then I finished camp and went home and moved back in 2 weeks.
And that's the summer I didn't work at camp.
That was the summer he didn't work at camp. And what was funny is like we said, we knew each other, but we weren't like really close friends, you know?
Nope.
And I literally called you up and was like, hey, you got a place I could crash for a little bit.
He sent a long, descriptive text.
Do you still have that text, possibly?
I don't know. I'd
That'd be
have to look.
insane.
On Facebook.
Yeah.
About moving in. And I was living with my sister at the time in a trailer in Byron Center. And what was interesting is at that time in my life, I was very lonely and very, like, just far from God and far from people in general. But for some reason, I thought this would be an exciting thing, like having a roommate, or because I didn't have a lot of guy community in the first place. So a lot of my friends were in college as well, and I wasn't. I was just working. I was doing masonry, which that environment itself was taxing. So I remember when you did ask me, I was kind of excited about it, but unsure because I didn't know that much about you. But I didn't really care. I was like, whatever.
I'm trying to find the text that I originally sent you, and it's definitely going to be here because I found before. Did I really send it on Facebook?
You know what's funny is that when I told my sister, before I was working in masonry, I was working at a factory, and I said, I sent her out a text. I was like, I just got a job. I'm going to be working in masonry. And she was like, oh, that's sweet. And then for some reason, she texted me back again. She was like, Scott wants to know what country. She thought I said missionary. I was like, no. Okay,
I found the text. So I literally texted you, what's July? Yeah, July 16th. Literally, it's been exactly 3 years ago, or 2 years ago. I said, hey, buddy, where are you living right now? Or at least for the next few weeks. You said, same spot, a trailer park in Byron Center. It's a crazy question, but what are the chances I could come live with you for maybe a month at the most? I'd help pay rent. I'll be working full time, just need a place to rest my head and call home while I build up enough money to hop into my apartment. I'd only need a couple weeks. Yeah, dude, that'd be cool with me. Let me talk to my sister real quick, but it shouldn't be a big deal. Right on. I'd be somewhere within the next 2 to 3 weeks that I'd be moving. You said, all right, I'll be here till the end of August. I said, perfect. That's the time I'll be headed out anyways. That was the whole conversation that happened.
Wow.
And I literally moved out of my house with my parents in Hudson, Michigan, which is 3 hours south of here, to
the thriving metropolis of Byron Center.
Why do you use so many big words for stupid things? Anyways, that's why I had you on here. It was such a simple conversation that turned into like, now you're my best friend. It's cool. But yeah, no, so I lived on your floor and you gave me this like, hey, I didn't even get like a bed or anything. I literally didn't even get a place to put my stuff. My stuff stayed in the back of my pickup truck.
I didn't have room in my bedroom to begin with.
Okay,
first of all, my sister was living there, her boyfriend, and then 3 other children.
Right.
And then me.
Yeah. And so I got this like 5x3 rectangle on the floor where I put this little like blow up camping mattress, and I didn't even have a pillow or a blanket. I just chilled there and went and worked my second shift job at Amway, and we worked opposite shifts, so we literally never saw each other except for like in the middle of the night. We would meet at like 3 a.m. to go skateboard.
Not 3 a.m. Maybe on Friday.
On the weekends we would. But then our plan was you would get home from work and then sleep the whole time that I was at work. So that way you could wake up and skate, and I'd get home and you were just passed out the whole time.
I would still sleep when I get home from work.
You would sleep for
but I'd wake up and then I go right back to sleep.
You'd sleep for like 13 hours a day. But yeah, no, that was crazy that happened. And like the whole reason for the whole moving obviously was like my plan of marrying my wife now. I mean, Carlos was a big part in helping me make that happen. So I have a lot that I owe to him and stuff for helping me out.
Now you owe me a place to stay.
Yeah, I've offered a couple times and you keep turning me down. We got a hole upstairs, man. You just gotta fix it up. You get to patch the walls and stuff and lay the flooring. But yeah, so what's next in your life now, man?
That's a good question.
Do you know where you want to move after? I mean, right now you're living in a bachelor pad, like a couple minutes away from me with a couple guys.
Basically.
And you're working.
I think I've gotten to the point where I have enjoyed my time at that house, but I feel I probably won't live there next year. So when my lease is up, then I'll probably find a different spot.
Yeah.
Just because it's been a good run, and I think I'm ready to explore my options.
Right.
With housing. Honestly, my biggest goal, I'd say right now, is to learn Spanish fluently and to be able to, talk with my family in El Salvador. So
Yeah.
a little background is that my dad is from El Salvador. My mom is not. She was born and raised here in America. So I am half white, half brown. Mutt.
You're just brown to me.
I am brown to you.
my little brownie.
I'm
my big brownie.
I'm your El Salvadorian brother that you were supposed to get.
One of the
I got later.
Yeah, my parents were gonna adopt from El Salvador after they adopted from Romania, which is me. And so this is my El Salvadorian brother. One of the first things I asked you, I was like, "Are you Mexican?" Like when I moved in with you, I was like, "We need to learn about each other." You know what's funny is that whole thing, like. Everything happened so quick. We knew nothing about each other. And like a week into me moving, I was tattooing your leg.
Mm-hmm.
The secret's out.
Now it's forever there.
We have a matching tattoo on our thighs. And it's just a little hashtag or a tic-tac-toe board or whatever you want it to be.
Yep.
And
mine's on my left leg.
Mine's on my right. We were so when we stand next to each other and lift our shorts up, we were sitting on my couch a couple weeks ago playing skate, and I looked down and both of ours were showing, and I had this little moment. I was like, "Oh, that's cute."
Oh,
I was mid kickflip on skate 3. This. Like. It's funny, like all my tattoos, I'm like, I'm gonna have these forever. It's crazy, and I don't really think about it that much. But that one specific one, I'm like, it's so funny because someone else has it, no matter how far apart we grow.
I remember when we did it. You did that tattoo on my leg. We went out to the living room and showed my sister.
After you were done crying.
Yep. I was pretty terrified because first of all, I hate needles to begin with. I can't go to BioLife. Like I'll pass out.
Yeah, you were like afraid.
But then I was like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Plus, you didn't dig into my skin.
No, I have a pretty light. Well, I had a pretty light hand. I definitely have a heavier hand now because I've done a lot more with tattooing, and I figured out that I can't be as light as I was. I wouldn't have had to go over it as many times as I did. I did it really light, but I did it for like an hour. Not really, but yeah. But anyways, yeah. Yeah, I remember going out and your sister's like, "What is it?"
What did you get on your leg? It was like a total disappointed mom moment.
Yeah, it really was, but it was.
But she thought it was funny.
She thought it was hilarious, and I think she still will.
Yeah,
it's funny. But
to further answer your question, I don't know if I'll be going. I want to go back to school. Then again, I don't because I'm not entirely sure. For a small part of me was like thinking going into military, like reserves, like Marine or Army reserves.
One or the other.
Yeah, honestly, just
which one?
Well,
you can't say I'm gonna go into the Marines or I'm gonna go in the Army. You have to know which one between those two. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but do you want to eat crayons or do you want to cry during push-ups?
Both.
Okay, we'll just leave that aside. But anyways.
But when I was in high school, I almost went into the Army.
Yeah.
I did future soldier training with the Army before I went to camp, and then that quickly changed. So that's still up in the air. We'll see what happens. But I am heavily leaning towards, obviously, if I do schooling, Spanish is going to be involved in that, but Spanish is the biggest goal right now in just in a quest just to serve my family better, because I have the opportunity and the tools to do that, and when they don't, you know what I mean?
Right.
They can, but it's much harder where they're at. You know, Salvador is just a very torn, beautiful, yet just completely devoured by the war that they went through.
Yeah.
In the 80s. So, I don't know. I just have a lot of family that I'm 22 now. I haven't had a full conversation with. And I've been to El Salvador when I was in first grade. But I barely remember that. And then I obviously didn't speak Spanish. So it kind of sucks that I have neglected this for so long. And I've beat myself up quite a bit. So when I was in the mission school and I was in India, it kind of hit me hard. And I wanted, I saw the love for their culture, the love that they had for each other, the love that for their families and how they honored them. And I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And God really showed that to me. So I'm really excited to pursue this. It's just, again, it comes down to it's a choice whether I do it or not.
Right, yeah. There's a lot of steps you have to take to get your mindset to be, especially to go back to school too, which, I mean, talking about school, would you say you graduated or do you have a certificate from B-Shop? Like,
I do have a certificate.
It's the certificate.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it's considered graduating or if it's...
It's not honored by, like, in a grand scheme of all things, like big schools.
Right.
It's not honored like you would say an associate's degree, obviously.
Yeah,
it's a gap year school.
Well, tell us about B-Shop. Like, what does B-Shop stand for? What is it? What are they doing for the Grand Rapids community?
What's funny is that they're actually changing the name soon.
Really?
But I forgot what they're changing it to. I'm going to have to ask Emma. They're changing B-Shop, which stands for Bridge Street House of Prayer. I went to BISMIS, which is Bridge Street Mission School. You're going to hear a lot of acronyms with these people.
Yeah.
Which we are about 2 miles away from where I was at this gap year program. Which, if those don't know what that schooling is or whatever, it's similar to YWAM, which is Youth with a Mission. YWAM's pretty big. They're everywhere.
I've heard of YWAM. I didn't know that was they went along with B-Shop or anything. I didn't know they were all.
They're not connected in
any
any
way.
way.
They're not. Okay.
B-Shop is its own thing. But it's more like it's generally focused where it's at, whereas YWAM is more generally focused on reaching the nations.
Yeah.
Or many other things, like specific things, like they emphasize something, whereas Bridge Street emphasizes the city, west side of Grand Rapids, west side of downtown, essentially. So I found out about this school because of a friend that went through the program, and I watched him go through it. I watched how he grew. I watched everything about it, and I thought it was cool and all, but I had no desire to go, simply because I was not going to spend that much money, which is not even, it wasn't that much.
I remember you telling me about it when I moved into your place. You were considering it, but at the same time you were saying you weren't going to do it.
I was second guessing it, but by the time you moved in, I've already put my deposit in.
You had already put, okay, because I remember you wrestling with the idea of it and going away to school. And
because
stuff like that.
if I wasn't going to go to school, we were just going to live together in an apartment.
That was our plan. Yep, it was just to eventually get an apartment.
Psych.
Then you kicked me out.
But. So then I did that. I kind of asked God, I was like, if you really want me to go here, I will. But I was like pushing it back super hard. I was like, there's no way. And honestly, I think it was just out of fear of walking into something that I just didn't understand, because I was not living a very healthy lifestyle, nor was I really... I think I was frustrated, and so I wanted to find some type of escape, but I didn't know what it was. And this seemed like a good opportunity. Like, I had you in my life, but at the same time, I knew eventually that would end.
Right.
not end in our friendship, but end because you're going to get engaged and then get married. So then I just was trying to protect myself, and I was like, maybe I need to find another route and get more friends.
we definitely had like this discipleship thing going with each other, and this companionship, where we'd go to the skate park and on the weekends, and we would literally have like a you good? we would literally have like a devotion time, we'd skate for literally like 20 minutes, and then we'd just sit down on the ramp and just talk about God, talk about life, and just kind of what we're going through. But would you say that you had a heart for ministry before B Shop? You just didn't know how to go about it? Or would you say B Shop was like the full inspiration for you to go into ministry and like desire that?
I did have some type of desire. I didn't know how to exactly pursue it.
Right. And B Shop was just kind of like a stepping stone to put you in that direction.
Yeah, so my friend RJ that went through the mission school, who
Shout out OJ.
met at camp, Pine Ridge Bible Camper, PRBC. He introduced me to another guy at that mission school who loved skating and all that. So the whole idea, Cole Mummy. You never met him.
No, I haven't. I like his name though.
Yeah. Shout out to Cole Mummy with an E. He doesn't live too far from you either. Anyways. But I remember he introduced me to him because I shared my heart for this thing. I always wrote this saying for some reason. I was like, more humble, less stumble. Or I always used humble heart.
Yeah.
That was like something I just wanted to create and make into something like a clothing. And I actually made a lot of like crew necks that RJ has still to this day.
Yeah.
And I made for a couple other people that don't wear it anymore.
Am I able to get a hold of one of these one day?
I have a person that I go to have print these shirts.
Can you get me one?
I will when fall comes around.
Shake on it.
I'm actually supposed to give RJ and Lyric for their wedding gift, which
Oh,
was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I haven't given it to him yet.
So that means I'll get mine in like 3 years. It's hilarious.
Even at one point, a camper,
Yeah.
when I was a leader, asked RJ where did he get it, and then she asked me, and then she bought one from me.
Oh,
and
really?
I like mailed it to her and everything. Like, it was super cool.
That is awesome, dude.
So I was like,
We should keep that
Dang.
going. Like, I'll help you. We had this whole idea that we were gonna, like, I remember we were skating. We were playing Skate 3 in your bedroom, our bedroom at the the BC crib, and we were playing that one skate park that's like the big basketball court or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. But we were talking about how we wanted. Well, you had this idea of starting a skate ministry.
Yeah.
Like starting a skate shop. Was it a skate shop or like creating a skate park?
no, like having a skate, like an indoor skate park.
That's right,
in the
yeah,
winter
yeah.
time.
Yep.
Because in the wintertime, it's super
There's
depressing.
nowhere to skate. Yeah.
And the closest place is only an hour away.
Right. Yeah.
Unless you have built your own thing. But an actual public place that I want people to go to it, but feel safe, and then it's free. I'd rather have it be a non-profit. But at the same time, a for-profit with selling, clothing and such.
You could almost even have one of those like benevolent funds, where like people can. I mean, it sounds kind of crazy for like a bunch of teenagers who are going to show up to a skate park, who's going to just give like an offering or whatever. But having that out, I remember we were talking about that, and that'd still just be like such a cool idea. And now you've kind of switched. You went from that idea, but you still have that idea, but now in India.
Right. Yeah.
So
because
tell us about the mission trip.
Okay, so mission school, it's an 8-month program. 4 months are spent in the inner city, teachings each week on something topical. It's the first 3 weeks was God, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's a really beautiful time of learning from these amazing people that you may not agree with in some things and may agree with in others. But just to have those conversations, to have those interactions with a community and be able to talk about sensitive issues or talk about just the Bible in general, because Jesus is lit. Then the next 2 months are spent either in Guatemala or India. You get the choice typically to go to either or, and I chose India. India was incredible.
Yeah.
It had its hard times, obviously.
Right.
But it was such an eye-opener. I just love their culture itself, the way they express themselves through dance, through just all these little things that you would, if you did it here in America, you'd feel silly for. But
right.
there, they love to dance. And
yeah.
And
well, you brought your skateboard with you, and they like went crazy over your self-expression just from skateboarding. You know,
yeah.
like, you can tell that they're obviously they're big on like bodily self-expression. You know, like the physical idea of self-expression.
Right. So we worked at 2 different schools.
Right.
And one of the schools we had this like little, not show and tell, but we kind of made a couple skits and stuff we were doing, and it was towards the end of our time there because we wanted to give them something because they were just doing crazy stuff for us. We're like, well, we should do something in return.
Right.
And so we did a bunch of skits. We danced too. And then I brought out a skateboard. And a lot of these kids have never seen a skateboard ever.
Right.
Which, I mean, half of
that's
the
like
majority
mind-boggling
of
to me almost that there's part of the world that doesn't know what a skateboard is, you know?
It is. And honestly, they didn't care. Like, they didn't know if I was good. They didn't know. I mean, they probably thought I was a pro.
Well, yeah.
Because they've never seen anybody skate, but I was like messing up on tricks, doing just a bunch of silly stuff, but they were just enamored by it, and they were just like eyes glued onto me. And I didn't like that at first. I didn't like the attention. It made my heart like race like crazy. But at the same time, I was like, I'm showing these kids something that maybe one day I can bring to them.
Right.
And also, just the school itself had a lot of cool stuff that you could skate on.
Yeah.
What was really funny is like the headmaster or the principal, she was not a big fan of the skateboard.
No?
No, she was like, this is a little reckless.
So stereotypical.
But she wasn't like, she's also really cool too. She's an amazing woman. And praise God for her.
Yeah.
Shout out to Raji. She just didn't like it just was, it's very loud.
It's dangerous. It's loud. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all the kids were like screaming and freaking out every time I messed up on a trick or even landed one. It was amazing.
Just because it flipped, it looked cool.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is,
they don't know what it's supposed to look like, so
it's not like skateboards are non-existent there, because there are, like, I saw a billboard with somebody talking about longboards, but that only appeals to a certain people that actually have money. Whereas where we were out in the boondocks, we were out in the country.
Yeah.
And none of these kids seen a skateboard before. Some of them, at least. Majority, I should say, haven't seen a skateboard. Even the adults were all like, what is this? What is this? Wood and some wheels.
Right. What got you into skateboarding? That's like where our relationship starts with skateboarding. And one thing you'll hear me talk about a lot in these podcasts is, I mean, it's one of my biggest passions is skateboarding. But like, what got you into it? Like, when did you start? What was your first setup, and all that good stuff?
I'm trying to think. I know that skateboarding was so big in the early 2000s.
Yeah. And
the biggest thing for me was like I loved playing like my Tony Hawk games on my GameCube or Xbox.
You had it on the GameCube?
I think so.
That's
I'm pretty
insane.
sure. But I remember I had this like green. It looked like a goldfish cracker board. You know what I mean? With like the point and then like the big fat tail at the back.
Yeah.
That was like one of my first boards.
A goldfish cracker.
It looked like. That's exactly what it looked like. And I remember this apartment I lived at on Chicago Drive.
Mm-hmm.
There was this. There's the 2 buildings, and then down the middle is this little path. But it was like it just gradually went down. Like it was like a little hill, and it had the concrete sidewalk. And we built a ramp and put it at the end. And I remember I would just go down it, and I would hang on. So when I hit the hit the ramp, I'd be doing an indie, what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought it was the coolest thing. I thought
Dude,
it was so good.
I don't think you've ever told me that story before. That's insane.
Yeah, and that was kind of like when I was like, oh, skateboarding is amazing.
Yeah.
But I just was still a kid and didn't, it wasn't something I was passionate about, I'd say.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I loved the thrill of it.
I had a goldfish cracker board. I still have it. It's in my basement right now. We put like a bracket on it to turn it into a shelf. It's one of those old Vision streetwear decks. I forget. It's a pro model of some sort. I forget if Mullen was on Vision or who it was, but it's someone's pro model. I can't remember to save my life. But
my board was probably from the flea market.
Yeah. my uncle gave it to me. The one that's paralyzed. He gave that to me, and it was like only a couple years later that he got paralyzed. But I remember one time I still had the board. I still do, but I still had the like completely set up with the trucks and the wheels on it and everything. And I went over to his condo, and this was after he was paralyzed. He was in his wheelchair, and he like tied a rope. We tied a rope to his wheelchair, and he was like dragging me around on the skateboard. And
that's awesome.
But he wanted to see me kickflip it and stuff, and that thing weighed like 30 pounds, so it was really hard. But I had my goldfish cracker too. But
yeah, but dude, the real passion was to like every time I drove past Clemente, which if nobody knows, if you are from Grand Rapids,
yeah,
it used to be a tennis court that turned into a DIY park that's right next to a soccer field, heavily used by my culture, by Latinos.
Right.
But that tennis court, now skate park, was just completely taken over and built by skateboarders. And I'm thinking, like, what if we put a building around that? We put a building around it just not to take it over and then monopolize it.
Right.
Take it over and have it for
all year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was like the biggest thing on my mind. I was like, I want to just make some money and then pour into this.
How would you even go about doing that? Who do you contact to say let's put up 4 walls in a roof?
Well, first of all, who owns the property of that park?
Right.
Second, can I buy a piece of that property? That's the park. Third, I had to get a permit. Then honestly, I would love to learn. I know how to. I've been in the construction world, but I've never built a building.
Yeah. You just tear them down right now.
Huh?
I say you just tear them down right now.
I just tear them down now.
Yeah.
But I would love to actually participate in help building it.
I feel like you could get a lot of... the skaters built the park.
Right.
What's it to get a couple more to, like, let's put walls up. Let's make this a all-year-round skate park. Free admission.
And the thing is like, I want to go up to these guys and be like, if there's something you desire to have at this place, want it built, tell me how you want it, and then I'll make the dimensions for it. Or I'll map it out and then build it.
Yeah.
That would just be so cool to me, just to reach out to the group that is so heavily regarded as, the reckless punks.
Yeah.
That just don't care about anything, but we just want a place safe to skate and to enjoy ourselves. But I don't want it, at the same time, I don't want them, I feel like there would be a lot of hesitation because I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
They're you're going to try to take this over and then try to convert me, right? No, it's not like that. But it is.
But, at the same time, we want you on our side. It's crazy because, like, forced conversion, it's like heavily forceful encouragement. Yeah. No, but like it's crazy trying to get the ministry into skateboarding, because skateboarding literally, because of the Dogtown boys, Tony Alva and Jay Adams and all them guys, Stacy Peralta, they gave us a bad name. I love the guys. Like, I grew up idolizing those guys because they made skateboarding what it is today. But at the same time, they're also the guys that went and drained people's pools when they went on vacation just to skate them, you know? And so they gave us such a bad rep, but it's like, how do you, the Lord says to, honor him and show his name in all that we do. And, if we're skateboarding, how do we do that when we're already looked at like as the worst people on earth because we destruct things? I'm doing the quote fingers, but like
I don't know how to do air quotes.
If you hit that microphone one more time.
I don't know how to do air
quotes. Air quotes. You heard it here first.
I can't English.
All Salvadorians. Yeah, no, but like seriously though, like I feel like that I agree with you. That'd be like one of the hardest like obstacles to conquer is like as soon as, because we're not going to go in there lightly that we're Christians. I think it'd be awesome to be You know, let's make this a God thing. Let's show his love through this, but that immediately shuts down people. And the problem is the people we need to help are the skaters. And let's be honest, all the skaters around here, I'm not saying all, the majority of the skaters around here are far from where they need to be in their faith in Christ, you know, and I've seen it, you know. It's a rough area. I remember when I first moved here, we were skating out at BC, and I was literally afraid we were going to get shot when these people came out. You're like, dude, calm down. But I was like freaking out. Remember when those 3 guys came out? They were skating. It was like one of the first nights we had skated that park.
You're just a scared cat.
I grew up in Hudson, so everyone's clean there.
Yeah, and then you came up to the dirty side.
Then I came up to BC, and it was rough, man.
Goodness, you're sheltered.
I was. Well, I really was to like this whole like, I mean, we had like this huge conversation a while ago. We were at the skate park on Straight Street, the one we were just at a couple hours ago. There was these kids that I was like, what are they doing over there? You know, they're sitting there playing with fire, and you're like, nah, dude, they're smoking, you know. And I've never seen that. That was something that I had never seen before. These like 10-year-olds just sitting there smoking marijuana, you know, and that just bothered me so much.
The thing is, we don't know if it was marijuana. It could have been just like a Black and Mild.
Well, it could have been a cigarette or something, yeah. But just the fact that it was happening, you know. Yeah. And I could smell it. I'm pretty sure it was marijuana. You know, I hate that smell. But like, and so it's just crazy what kids are, you know, given these days. Like what's so easily available to them. Like growing up, the thing that was an issue in my home, like the thing that was so easy to get to was like food that my parents told me not to eat. Like all I had to do was grab a stool and I could get it. Whereas like now I'm noticing kids are like, you know, say no to drugs, but they're sitting there smoking.
I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, dude.
Oh,
like,
no.
Honestly, you know, your life story, their life story and yours is obviously going to be complete opposites. There's going to be horizontal compared to your parallel. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh,
it's
yeah.
Just, you know, and that's why you got to meet them where they're at instead of attacking them. And I'm not saying you were, but didn't know how to, you know, you didn't know what to do because you've never seen that before. And see, I used to do that, and I've seen it all the time.
Right.
So it's definitely hard when you don't understand that culture. The cultures change within cities. It changes within blocks.
Oh yeah.
You know, it changes from house to house.
Yep.
So you got to look at it from a biblical standpoint and look at it in a way that, you know, because, I mean, it's just your reaction is going to determine how they view you. Right.
Especially as a Christian. I mean, that's the thing is like, I remember telling you, like, I wanted to walk over there, take it away from him and slap him with a Bible. Like, that's literally like what took over my mind immediately seeing that. And, you know, you're like, I remember something you said, you were like, if you walked up there, told them it was wrong, are they going to walk away knowing it was wrong because you as an adult said it? You know, they're not. There's a whole different way you have to attack that, and I don't know how to attack that, and it wrestled with me like crazy. Like I was telling you about it a couple days later, it was still bothering me, you know. And so it's just crazy.
Yeah, we were sitting at Wendy's.
Yeah, we were literally talking about it at Wendy's over a Baconator, you know.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, where you're at too is in such a beautiful place that needs Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Some would call this side of town the most unchurched area in Grand Rapids.
Right.
Despite having all the statistics of all the churches that are in Grand Rapids, Michigan in general.
Well, it's crazy because when I moved to Grand Rapids, you know, the one thing I was told, because I found out about this place and obviously like my wife and everything because of Bible camp. Okay. I went to Bible camp and I met my wife. I went to Bible camp. I met my best friend. I went to Bible camp and found out that Grand Rapids has the most Bible camps in Michigan. But then I moved to Grand Rapids and find out it's the most unchurched area in Michigan. Like one of the most unchurched areas. And so it's like, how does that make sense? But I mean, I guess it does make sense of why people are putting Bible camps on every block. You know, they're like Dollar Generals in the fields, you know. So, I mean, Bible camps are popping up everywhere. But it's like...
literally nobody. Dollar General.
Middle of a field. Yeah. But seriously, it's crazy how, like, yeah, just this culture. I mean, we were just at the skate park a little while ago, and we watched this guy walk over, and you're like, oh yeah, that's a drug deal right there, and things got really weird. Like,
no, the dude sat there and just rolled up a blunt. Like,
yeah.
I saw it happen. I mean, that's just nothing new to me.
Right.
What just happened there? Because that dude walked over casually, dropped something, handed it out to him, and then walked away.
He like walked away, then came back again. He was like trying to be all, nonchalant about it, but it was pretty. I just can't look at that stuff without kind of freaking out. So I look over. I'm sitting looking at you while you're just watching this whole thing go down. I'm like, I can't look at it, otherwise I'm gonna walk over there and chuck my skateboard at somebody. Like it fires me up like crazy that this stuff just happens so easily and nobody gets caught. And that's one of the other things that we were talking about too. Like, what if I literally was to just sit there and dial 911 and get a cop over there? What is the cop gonna do? What are those kids gonna do when the cop shows up? Like. That's not going to help them. Putting kids behind bars, isn't the answer to that.
They're not going to be put behind bars.
Well, I mean, they're not going to be put behind bars. They're going to get sent back home, and are their parents going to help them at all? Is anything like, they're not going to go home and get ministered to,
But the thing is, you don't know, like, their parents. The situations is always different.
Oh, yeah, for
like
sure.
A kid could come from the best Bible-believing home, parents that just love the Lord.
Right.
Yet their kid
is smoking weed on the weekends, yeah.
Chooses vanity.
Right. Well, we've seen it. I mean,
yeah.
We both grew up and decided to follow Christ. It's a big part of our lives. It's definitely a big part of my life.
I didn't grow up, though.
I mean,
yeah. I met it later.
Yeah. No, but I look at my own life, and a lot. All my struggles and stuff. I've been open to you about them all, and I grew up under two great Christian parents, and I see how, my struggles came about, and yeah, it's like, who am I to look at these kids who are rolling a blunt, and saying their parents aren't Christians, but
if you think about when you were to dial that number, get the cops to come there to confront those kids. In that moment, you have decided, I'm going to leave this into hands of somebody that may not even be a follower of Christ. So, obviously, it's somebody that enforces the law, so they're not going to be like, this is bad, kids. Like, you need to turn to Jesus. No, they're going to be like, this is bad. We're going to have to take you to juvie or do this and that. We're going to take you to your parents. So they do it by the law. When all of us need to do it through the lens of Christ, through the lens of the Bible.
For sure.
And so that is not a loving approach. Honestly, I find that more offensive if somebody did that. Now, there's obviously different situations where, yes, you do call the cops. You don't always say, I can't call the cops.
I'm not showing Christ's love if I'm calling if I don't call the cops. His gun's out, but he needs Jesus. Yeah, no, I get you. I get the whole danger aspect of it, but I also completely understand. That was a big eye opener for me when you had said all that before. Sitting in Wendy's talking about that calling the cops. You literally are just putting that in the hands of someone who could possibly have never even considered following Christ when. That's kind of our job. That's why we're put on this earth, is to make disciples. And so calling the cops is not making a disciple.
Yeah. But being a cop, too, is not an easy life.
No.
So I can only imagine some of them when they approach kids like this, maybe they do this on a regular basis. So it's just another kid to them that's just smoking pot.
Right.
Rather, we look at it that this is a child made by a creator, and we are saying, God, we can't handle this. We're going to let somebody else do it. And then that can be the case sometimes. But we're saying we don't want to deal with it. Let somebody else take care of it. You know?
Yeah.
No, it's not. We should never approach it in a way that's like we're scared of them or something, because that's bad.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
For real.
We just don't know how to love.
Right. For sure.
And honestly, the Lord shows us how to love clearly, yet we still choose our own approach,
Oh, yeah.
So there, I would have to think pretty hard of what I would do, because it's not sometimes it is a one-time deal where you approach these kids and then just, spew out whatever on them.
Right.
And sometimes it hits them that day. Sometimes it hits them 5 years later. Sometimes 15 years down the road.
Yeah.
They're like, I remember these words this man said to me, you know, and now now I love Jesus. You know,
Yeah.
even we've had that in some case with somebody coming up to us. And honestly, I've been hit with so much lately with like seeing people that don't even have a relationship with Christ, but are doing so much for people.
Yeah.
More than a Christian, your average Americanized Christian man or woman would do.
Right.
And that burns inside my heart because I know there's things I can do, change up my attitude, change up this. Just because I mean, my coworker, she's done a couple things where I've just been like amazed by, like we'd be like, oh, she must be following Christ or something, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
Even, you know, our Muslim brothers and sisters, they are doing things that we as Christians don't do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Where we have, I don't know what it is. Like, it just blows me away. It's just one thing. Like, she saw. Now, anybody can do this, right? You don't need to be a Christian to do this, but it's like interesting how we see why we are fed. I mean, we are always getting attacked with like, you guys are a bunch of hypocrites. Rah, 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 I hate you. Da da da.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she saw this woman pay for this homeless man's meal.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know who she was. And then she went and was having lunch with the kids at a McDonald's.
Right.
And then she just went ahead and like, well, I'm going to go ahead and buy her something and pay for her meal. So that's what she did, you know. And I was like, wow, that's just showing love to people.
Yeah.
That has done kindness in such a beautiful way.
And so, like, what you're saying
it's not
is
that pay it forward thing. It's just like just loving people.
No, it's just a genuine desire. And I worked at Big B Coffee for a little while, and it was the coolest thing, you know, in the at the window, you know, you'd get two types of people. You'd get as far as that whole pay forward thing, there was that one person that was just a happy-go-lucky person. They genuinely just cared and wanted to do it. They would start it. And then there was the person that went, they paid for mine? Well, how much is the person like, they wanted to know, you know, they wanted to know how much it was, and if it was over an X amount, they weren't going to do it, you know? And so there was that whole, like, feeling obligated. But yeah, that genuine love that you're saying, like, you don't have to be a Christian to have. It's sad when Christians don't use it, you know? It really is. But at this point, I am completely out of Dr. Pepper in my giant mug, and so let's not to end something amazing really quick, but let's take a quick break and come right back to it. Oh, we're not gonna. He said he can't burp before this one, so stop. But
Emma's gonna be mad.
Yeah, tell her I'm gonna send the link right to her and say, just listen to the first 30 seconds. That's all you need to hear.
I'm sorry. Right away.
I'm sorry. Right now, an hour into the the podcast. If you listen this long, I am sorry. Oh man. Favorite 3 tricks. Go. That you can do.
Oh.
Inward heel.
Laser. No. I love my big spins, fakey big spins. That's one of my favorites. That's like my favorite trick to do. And then fakey 3 shove.
Yeah.
And then on a good day, I like to do my varial kick if I can land it.
Yeah. You used to have, was it the nollie front shove on the bank revert?
Oh, yeah.
At BC.
Mm-hmm.
And you worked for an hour doing that.
Yeah.
And then you got it, and then you had them locked down, and it was super sweet.
I just want to get the pop with those. You know what I mean? Instead
Right.
of just doing just the shove, but the pop.
Yeah, and that's something that I just recently started getting, and I think it's with a bigger board. I literally a month ago I skated a 775. I'm currently riding an 825.
A boat.
For real, I went to an 8 and I was like, okay, it's time to grow up a little bit, and so I got an 825. And I can now pop my pop shove-its instead of just scooping them. Because every time I would do a pop shove-it, I would do a varial flip on accident. Like, I cannot do a shove-it without flipping my board. But now I can actually pop a good shove-it, and, like, it'll just stay perfectly flat. And that's something I've always envied that you have.
This year, I want to get tray flips.
Tray flips.
Yeah.
I
want to at least land it, but maybe not successfully, but get the rotation.
Oh, yeah. At least stomp it with your front foot and get to that point. The rotation of it is the hardest part. I remember I landed my first tray flip when I think I was like 14 or 15, and I think I literally like screamed in my backyard. I had this little backyard skate park that my dad built me. We had like a bunch of ramps, and I had this 12-foot flat rail and everything. It was super sweet, but I remember one day I was like, I just need to do flat ground. I never skated flat ground. Like, I just always did transition and jumped on board slides all the time. But I was like, I'm doing flat ground, and I worked like a whole day on a tray flip, and I ended up getting it in that day. But yeah, I think I like ran around screaming for like 20 minutes. I was so excited because that's like, I feel like that's the trick everyone talks about as a skateboarder. You know, when if you don't have it, that's the trick you want, is a tray flip. And this year I've been noticing like I don't have them on lock anymore, and I think it's because I stepped up my board sides like crazy. Yeah. I had them earlier this year, but now I can't do one that well. I did one today and landed with my feet perfectly next to each other in the middle of the board, and it like swung out from underneath
me.
Like
the back of the board.
Yeah, I lost my feet. And
I remember you had fakie trays down. They would look so good. Yeah,
dude, I can possibly put a video of one right now. But yeah, I at a Straight Street Skate Park, you filmed me doing one. I'll put that video in if I have it. If I don't, then I'm literally just saying it. It's not going to be there. But I remember fakie trays were really fun. And I think the rotation for fakie trays are way easier. It's more natural. With the front foot, you don't have to flick it at all. Like, I never flick with my front foot. Yeah. Everyone says, like, get that 3 shove and just give it a little flick. For me, if I do a 3 shove, my board's going to flip. I can't do a 3 shove because my board flips. My cat is, like, chasing a fly right now. But
did it get it?
Yeah, he got it. He's about to eat it right.
Way.
Yeah, he's about to eat it right now too. Oh, there it goes. Num num.
Gross.
Look at that. He's just chomping away.
Nasty.
But anyways, yeah, no, I can't do a 3 shove without flipping my board. So when I do a tray flip, I just think 3 shove. I don't think tray flip. Otherwise, I over flip and do like a tray flip, double flip, or whatever. So
yeah. So I have to learn all the like switch 3 shoves just to get them on you.
Oh yeah, for real. Shove-its in general, I just really suck at. I've never been good at shove-its. The only thing I can do is just a normal shove-it, and I can be flying like 50 mile an hour and do one. Yeah. I love flying across the park and doing a shove-it, but literally just a little scoop across the ground, doesn't even pop or anything. It's just a quick whoop. But
I remember when I landed my first kickflip, I lost my marbles.
Yeah. Like, how old were you when you landed your first kickflip?
I was like 17.
No.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
For real.
I thought you were a lot younger.
No. Okay. So when I was like 15, the first trick I landed successfully was a varial kickflip.
Yeah. But really?
Yeah. Like, it was super weird.
Before you did a kickflip or anything, you did a varial flip.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Because I felt comfortable doing that trick for some reason.
Yeah.
That like big trick at least. Like,
right.
I don't count like pop shove it as a big trick.
Well, it's not a flip trick, so yeah, no.
Right. So
what's that video you have of you sacking yourself with was it a kickflip you were doing and you like stepped on the tail and shot it between your legs?
That's a funny video.
Just a little
And then I'm like
That's hilarious.
Wide open.
There's a video of me in my little backyard skate park that I posted on Facebook when I was like 14 or 15, and I was like going up onto my quarter pipe to drop in, and I like stepped too far back and just fell off and disappeared. It was just fun.
I love the video. I showed Emma's family and everything, like the AFV video.
Oh my word!
Jumping over
7
chairs,
7 folding chairs. I was on AFV when I was I don't even remember
You
what
were
year it
wearing
was.
some tight red skinnies.
Yeah.
And then you just blew yourself apart.
I ripped my jeans doing that too. Like I ripped them right down the middle.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And
too good.
if you haven't seen the video, most of my friends have, because I think I share it like every single year because it shows up on my feed again by like 10 people who have shared it. I think I was either 13 or 14.
You should have won.
I was in my church gym, and we had these like chairs that were set up because the pastor did some kind of like guys lesson. Like I remember this way too well, but he was doing this like guys lesson out in the gym, and all the chairs were still set up with the podium and stuff up front. And we were playing basketball, and the basketball like launched into the chairs, and I jumped over one. And I had this like brilliant idea, like that'd be funny if I could jump a couple of them. And by the time I got to 5, my friend Maya, the youth pastor's daughter, she was like, oh, I'll start videotaping it. And I was like, oh, there's gonna come a point where I'm not gonna reach far enough, and I'm gonna sack myself. Like I called it on like the 5th one, and I got to the 6th. And in the videos, if you've seen all the videos, if you're one of my good friends who's seen them all, on the 6th one, I was very, very close to not making it, but I made it. And that very last one, I like yelled in the air. I was like, oh, like as I jumped, I knew I wasn't going to make it. And I tried to like do that thing where you like lean really far forward to push your foot out in front to like land all on your front foot so you don't sack it. If you're not a skateboarder, you don't know what I'm talking about because you haven't sacked things. You know, that's just the nature of ours. But
I don't sack things.
No, because you don't do rails.
Nope.
Try to board slide and but no, I tried to land on my front foot, but I was too short, and so I went all full force on that chair, the back of the chair. But luckily, I was all thigh. I took it all in my inner thigh. It wasn't bad.
You turned just.
I turned just in time, and I literally did like a flip. And the chair came with me. It got stuck between my legs, and I did a front flip, and it came with me. It sounds really dramatic, but it really is. Like it is really dramatic. It's insane, but. Yeah, they caught it on video. They're all laughing at me, and I was on the ground just holding myself. And it was funny because what doesn't show in the video is like at that moment when I hit the ground, right when they stopped filming, my mom walked in, and she was like, "What are you doing?" She was like freaking out, and she's like, "We gotta go right now. It's time to go home." You know, when you're at church too long with your friends, and your mom's been looking for you for 20 minutes. That's what that day was. But
never had that happen.
No, I was always not where my parents wanted me to be.
Yeah,
but
at that stinking church, always there.
Yeah, but anyways, moving forward from hurting myself and all that. What is? It's not a sound effect I'm hitting. That's Carlos. What's your favorite skate spot around Grand Rapids? Like street spot. Any kind of street spot.
You know, I didn't skate that much street.
You know what? Remember
that photo I showed you at that Burger King that we never went to?
Yeah, no, we need to go to that, but also, do you remember Cooper? Or what's his face?
Oh,
Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah. That 5 stair.
Yeah.
We need to go back to that 5 stair. Like for real. Like I wanna skate.
Actually I have to work tomorrow.
I do, but
I do.
We could go street skate right now though. Do you know how legit that would actually be to go street skate right now? It's like 10
it's about to be 11 o'clock.
It's about to be 11 o'clock. We'll probably get shot. Yet.
There you go with your stereotypes again. Go back to where you came from, kid.
But no, seriously. So you don't have a favorite street spot?
Honestly, no, because I haven't skated enough of them. And when I did skate street spots with my friends from back in the day,
yeah,
I sucked.
Right.
I didn't even know how to do anything. You know what I mean?
I remember bringing you to a couple spots. Like I say bringing you, but like I feel like I just notice them a little more because that's what I'm just used to. There wasn't a bunch of skate parks around me growing up, and so I literally just had to go like, you know, whatever I could find in Hudson or Adrian, I would just skate around there. But we skated down the street in Byron from the BC crib. It sounds way cooler than trailer to say that. So the BC crib,
the trailer park.
And there was this one spot where it was like a bump to ledge, but it was like a sandblasted ledge. I was like, all we need is like a bunch of wax, and it would be like the coolest spot ever. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah,
that spot I found while I was working though, that looks like so much fun. Just wax it, and then you can board slide on it.
The one from That's the Burger King.
Yeah, and it's just down the way, you know.
From here?
It's not. It's like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a lot of fun to do.
Right.
We have to do that at some point.
Yeah.
Honestly, the biggest thing I want to do is like go on a couple of road trips because I've never done that really.
Just to
I
skate.
went to Colorado with the mission school, and like that's like the only time I've been out of the state truly.
Yeah, I think
Besides being out of the country
we need to like actually just go places just to skate. Like
that's
for
what
real.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I want to go road trip with you.
Yeah.
And take the Jeep and go out to
Right.
like some super cool skate parks that nobody visits.
We do need to go south though, not north. We need to go south, and we need to hit Hudson because where I grew up, there's a bunch of abandoned warehouses, and me and my buddies would. It's not the greatest. I'm not like the most proud of it, but it's just a memory and it's fun. But we would bust the windows to get in because all the doors were boarded up, and kids had already thrown rocks at the windows. They were already busted, but we'd bust them more with our boards so we could get through. And there was like huge lockers laid on their side, and we like had a bunch of stuff in there to make kickers to get up onto it. And it was the craziest thing. And at the time when you're like 13, you're not thinking like, oh, let's get the lights in here, let's film. Like we're just skating, I didn't grow up like making a bunch of video parts and giving them to skate shops and stuff. I eventually picked up two sponsors, and they were both from a competition that I went to. So I didn't grow up like filming or anything. I have hardly any film of me skating when I was younger. I mean, I guess I take it back. I have a lot of film, but I never put together like parts or anything. But anyways, no, we'd go in these abandoned warehouses and just set them up to skate. And it was it was so dusty. You couldn't breathe. You were covered in a layer of dust when you left, but it was your bearings were destroyed, but it was the coolest thing ever. But yeah, we need to hit abandoned warehouses is what we need to do for sure. And there's a lot in Ohio too. A lot of those, but
I've been getting into airsoft a lot lately, and an abandoned warehouse would sound fun to play some airsoft.
Dude, where's my backpack? Right over there. Okay, I'm not gonna get it out, but I got a M1 1911 airsoft gun.
I got one in the car right now.
An airsoft gun?
Yeah.
Want to go have a battle right now in my garage?
Yeah.
Let's do it out in the basement. I cleared out the basement to skate in.
I'm gonna shoot the mess out of you.
Yeah, whatever. No, so there's this funny picture at camp. Or from camp that ended up online that totally shouldn't have because it looks so bad. The losing team that I had playing all had to line up, face away from me, and they all had to sing. And I sat there and just picked off each one of them at least twice. it was the most fun I had in my life.
Is it the single shot where you have to cock it again?
Oh yeah. It was just the pistol I had before this 1911. But the 1911 I got is around 360 FPS. Which is decent.
Is it spring loaded?
Yeah, it's spring. Yeah. But my M1 carbine that's up on the stairs right now, that one's around 600 FPS. Kids don't like that one. That one hurts. So, because the guns they're playing with are only around like 180 to 210.
Well, theirs is like the cheap spring load.
Yeah.
Where the guys I played with a weekend ago had the electric automatic.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. I got tore up. I still got welts on my belly.
Do you? It's funny because like you have to spend. It's crazy. You have to spend a lot of money to get a good airsoft gun that's electric. Because like electric guns, you can get the cheap ones from Walmart and stuff, and they'll last like 20 minutes of game time, and they don't shoot hard at all. Like the FPS is so low, but like to get a good electric gun, it costs like a solid $1,000 or more. They put some serious dough into them. It's ridiculous. I would have loved to like go into competitions and stuff, but I'd be there with my spring-loaded gun. I'm a firm believer of taking apart the spring-loaded guns and amping them up even more.
One of my friends, he spent over $200 on his gun, and it's so realistic and like legit. We almost look like we looked like a militia where we were at. We were playing out in Lowell, which is country town.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this is not looking.
Does not look good.
Actually, the guy that it was his bachelor party. This is what he wanted to do. We had to go around to the neighbors and tell them like, we're playing airsoft. We're not a militia. Don't shoot at us.
Right.
With your real guns.
Right. Yeah. No, I've got the M1 carbine. It's all wood and metal. I spent $200 on it. The first year I was at camp. I ordered it, and because I was doing airsoft out at camp there, and I was like, I want a good gun, and I got it, not realizing that it was like gonna draw blood.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. I'd say we're at a pretty good spot to say it's time for both of us to get to bed. It's 11
tomorrow.
It's 11 o'clock right now, and
We'll have to do like a adventures podcast where we do something like all day,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
when nighttime hits, we'll talk about it.
Like seriously, like we should actually go on this trip. We should plan this soon while it's still nice. You
I
know?
have vacation days that I can use, dog.
Yeah, do you?
I need to use
Well,
them.
here's the thing. So I'm gonna get a couple days when I'm finished with camp before I start my new job. I'm gonna get like a solid couple days in between. If I'm at camp until the end of camp,
I was
get
thinking more like September, but you know.
when it's a little cooler out and not 110 degrees here. With the heat index, it's like ridiculous here. But no, I think it'd be sick to go on a trip sometime.
You're just gonna have to let Sharp, whatever.
Shape.
Shoop. Be like, hey, I got a trip with my best friend, so you gotta like let me have these days off.
and could you pay me for them? Because I'm literally
Please.
just gonna skateboard. But no, I think it'd be so sweet to actually let's get like a legit camera and let's like film a whole video part in a day of film, like make like a whole vlog, like video of just skateboarding, and
That'd be legit.
it'd be super sweet. And then finish it off with the part 2 of this podcast.
Yeah, and talk more about us.
Yeah,
me. No,
for real. But dude, thanks for hanging out with me this long and being a part of this.
it only took 2 weeks.
Right.
Ah.
A little longer. But so yeah, we would love to do another one of these, and thank you guys for sticking around this long if you have. If you
Shout out to anyone that's listening to this.
Yeah, right. Anyone who decided to leave it on and listen to the whole thing. It did get more serious after the burps at the beginning.
Help us grow.
Yeah, no, I would love to see this channel actually, get somewhere. And so right now we're just messing around, but I'd love for it to actually get somewhere.
Also, you gotta change the name.
Coffee Bar Monologue?
Do you know what monologue means?
Yeah.
You should have changed it to Coffee Mug Dialogue, not monologue.
Coffee Mug Dialogue? That doesn't sound good though.
Monologue is one person. One. Mono. One.
No, so, but like, okay, that does make sense.
It's not one person talking, dude.
You're gonna call me out at the end of this. No, look up the actual. Okay, I'm gonna get the full definition of monologue right now. Monologue.
Make sure you spell it right.
I did. Okay, so it's a long speech by one actor in a play or movie. Hold on. No, a long, tedious speech by one person during a conversation. Okay.
Yeah, this isn't looking too good for you.
No, it rolls off the tongue nicely.
It does.
Coffee Bar Monologue just
But
rolls
when
off the tongue.
people read that and know the definition of monologue, or just mono in general, which is, I mean,
one. Yeah. No, I get that.
People are like, huh?
All right, at that, we're going to end this monologue.
Dialogue.
Thank you guys for chilling out with us, and thank you, Carlos, for joining me. It's been super fun.
One love.
All right, we'll see you later, man.
Jesus wins.
Indeed. What?
Jesus wins.
Oh, wins. I said rins. I was like, what's rins?
Jesus wins.
Jesus rins.